All right, I'm getting loaded up for the next Born Primitive Academy Shamley outfitting course. This is going to be a 4-day, 3-night trip, possibly 4 nights, 5 days. But I just wanted to go over the gear that I'm putting in the pack, and more importantly, how I load the pack. And there seems to be a lot of confusion with the correct way to load a backpack. There's definitely a right and a wrong way. So I'm going to show everyone what's going in the pack, how it's going in there, and why it goes in the way it does. So this is a Mystery Ranch Beartooth 85, I think is what this is called. A lot of pockets in here, probably more than I would normally put in, but decent sized pack, but I can get 5 days out of this easy. So out of the gate, my sleeping bag goes on the bottom. This sleeping bag is an Argali 20 degree, compresses down, pretty dang small. I have to say, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, sleeping bags I've ever used. Now, I pretty much always down bag, put it in a dry sack. That's a Sea to Summit dry sack. Now, this is a Sea to Summit pad. I'm going to read this off because I'm going to get questions about it. Is it on here? No. Well, I'm not going to read it off. I believe this is the Ether Light something. It is extremely thin, but it is very comfortable. But I'll get the exact name of this one. It's one of the Ether Light models. So I wedge that around my sleeping bag just to fill up the void. And I never put those in a case. I never put that in a bag or anything. So the next step, so I've got lightweight stuff on the bottom. That's the most important thing. Bottom third is lightweight gear. Now, this is my heaviest thing because I'm a fat ass. This is my food. This is about 7.5 pounds of food, and I eat a lot. So I'm going to put my food in the middle portion of my back because that's going to be the heaviest. Now, I want to keep this as tight to my back as possible. So I'm going to take my super cool Thermarest pillow. This has mushrooms on it. I don't know why. It just looked like the cool one. But now I do kind of feel like a hippie with the mushrooms. Maybe the animals will, not worry about me. But either way, this is like my favoriteest pillow in the world. Not overly compact. But I'm going to wedge this pillow between my food and the back of the bag to keep that weight up against my back. Now, one of my other heavier items, this is the Argali, and this isn't heavy, just heavier. This is the Argali Rincon bug net. So I have the Rincon bug net in here and the Argali tarp. I don't have the Rincon outer shell. So I'm going to erect the bug net with the trekking poles and stake it out and then pitch the tarp so I can get wind because it's hotter than the hubs of hell right now. So I'm not really needing a good shelter, or I say that like I don't need a rain barrier right now. I need a sunshade is what I need. So that's going to go on top right here. And when I'm loading this up, heaviest stuff against my back and in the middle third is what I'm wanting. And I've got a various amount of crap here. So this is a very heavy but really nice BioLite charger. I really like this model. It is 28,000 or something. What the hell is this thing? 25,000, whatever it is. This one's really good. You can set your ear pods, your phone on top of it. But it's heavy. And I'm going to put that between the food and my shelter. Now I'm going to want to lighter stuff. This is a Evernew cook pot and a Soto Windmaster stove. I'm going to wedge that, and that's going right here. Next up, this is my Possibles pouch, basically. Don't laugh at the twisty ties. Headlamp, all my survival stuff in here, repair kit, pills, stone, sharpening stone, all that kind of stuff, spare batteries. We have a Black Hawk down. All right, that's what you get when you buy shit on Amazon. All right, so that's going to go right here. So I've got the cook pot here, that here. And when I say that is always going to be with me no matter what. But anyway, so we're teaching this course. I have a grip of 550 cord here, which also works great for filling voids. I'll play hell untangling that later. Now, clothing-wise, I've got, those are actually prototype pants. Can't talk about those. But I've got the grid fleece. That is the half zip, a sun shirt, and an op top, and a puffy. Now, I don't know if I'm going to bring both of these in. I'm probably not going to be wearing a whole lot of t-shirts in there just to keep the sun off me. But I'm going to load up this one, but I may end up just taking that sun shirt and the puffy. Anyway, so now these are void fillers. So dead spots in the pack. I'm going to wedge clothing in there. So that's the op top. Let's see, I got a pair of socks in here somewhere. There they are. Wedge the socks in here. Fleece right there. And I usually take the puffy last to go on top, which I'll do here in a second. When I say on top, meaning the last of the pack. Now, if you can't tell, I have poison ivy, and so I'm going to be bringing shoes that I can still maneuver around in without wearing socks, because the socks are going to drive my poison ivy crazy. So I normally wouldn't bring these. I would have my prison slides, but I am bringing these, so if I have to not wear my boots, I've got something to have on my feet. So those go there, and I still have a ton of room. Now this back pocket here is really just my water bladder. That's a 6-liter, I think they call it the cell, water cell. Now this, I don't know, I have one that's normally lighter. The water is at a premium where we're at, and I'll use this dongle here to go into a creek or a seep to make it into a faucet to help fill up everyone's water. And that will usually incorporate the New Zealand mountain stick. If I need to dig a little bit to get that trench going for the seep or whatever, I'll use this, and I'll place rocks on that, and then that's what will make my life easier, filling up an Nalgene bottle or the bladder. So I will say though, this is heavier than I need, but it was at the hardware store, so I grabbed it. All right, so that's in there. I'm gonna zip that up for now. I've got, actually, also the solar panel. This is an Anchor 24-watt solar panel. I've got a bunch more solar panels coming to try out, but I've had really good luck with that. The big blue is the one that I actually recommend more than anything now. So we got that in there. All right, so now I've got like the things that I need most are going to be at the top. So in case somebody gets jacked up feet or whatever, I got my Leuko tape ready. So that's going to go at the top. I've got my little med kit, which isn't really worth a shit, but I got a tourniquet, some combat gauze, whatever. Not a whole lot in there. The flex tail. Get some of this wedged over here. Okay. So the flex tail, this is great for blowing up your air pad, because I hate blowing up my air pad, and also great to hold it into the fire when you're getting it going. And I'm just filling up voids with the little stuff. Now, this is a camp towel. I really suggest everyone should have one of these bad boys. I know, like I'm using it right now. I'll jump in a creek and a lake whenever I possibly can when I'm back there. It's nice to clean your hands up or whatever, so I always have a camp towel. I say always. Try to always have a camp towel. All right, now toothpaste, nasal stuff, because it's that time of year, toothbrush. That's as good as it gets for a kit for me for cleanliness. It's a miracle I bring that. I'm going to twist this to the side. Oh, okay. That feels really heavy. So here we have bug juice, because the mosquitoes are horrible. 99% DEET. This is 100% DEET. Definitely going to get cancer with this shit. Jungle juice. And then this is 40% off aerosol DEET. That's going to go in my side pocket over here. And the biggest thing as I'm loading this up, it is just weight distribution and keeping everything even. Heaviest stuff in the middle third, up against my back, wedging things where I need to fill voids, and then keeping the stuff that's most important in the top of the pack or in the lid. All right, so now almost all of the rest of this stuff is going to go in the lid. So I'll start loading the lid right now. So I don't want the heaviest stuff towards the back away from my head in that lid. So this is an iridium sat phone. That's going to go here. This is thermocell. And then, boys, This is a bunch of the canisters and the little blue thingy dingies or whatever, because I leave this time of year, I leave this thing on all the time. And I actually clip this when I'm hiking in, believe it or not. I clip this right there, right behind my dome on the hike in. So that's going to go in there. Now I've got a few smaller things. This is the Team Eastie's marking panel. I don't need this for a scouting trip, but it can be handy for marking your stuff, but I'm going to use this for teaching the course. So that's lighter weight. That's going to go in that front pocket. Same with this Sterapin Classic. This is Deadshot Nutrition electrolyte mix, so that's going to go in there. Very important. Butt wipe. That's going to go in there. I can smell the butt wipe. All right. So now I'm blind as a bat, so these are my glasses from Gators, which I'm having to wear more and more. I believe I did a video calling these birth control glasses. But yes, these will be in my pack at all times, no matter what, just in case something ever goes down with my contacts, lose one or whatever else. And I keep that in my lid. Okay, gloves and a beanie hat. Again, stuff I just need to get to quickly. This is extremely important. This is my energy for the next several days, so it's pre-workout. There's a little bit of a pocket here. Load that in there. All right, now, because of what we're doing, I'm going to be wearing a kit bag or the multi-pack in on my chest from Marsupial. It's not a bino harness, but I do need a rangefinder and binoculars when I'm back there for part of the course. So this is a rangefinder that I'm bringing. And then these are little 10 by 20 something compact binoculars. But again, I'm not going to be wearing these in on my chest. What are these things? 10 by 25s maybe. They are handy to have, so I'm going to be packing these in for when we get back there. So there we go. All right, now we're getting there. I have a JC Custom Kydex holster here. And then this is the SIG 320 ported 10 millimeter. And that's going to go in there. I've got a Romeo 2 up top. The boys are making noise. Sorry about that, peoples. All right, so get the lid over the top. I've got a lot of room left in here. I'm going to throw the puffy jacket up top. So this is something I just started using, this stool. It's fairly lightweight and it's really handy. These things just pop out. And boom, I could use this at camp, or if I'm setting up to sit on a water hole in the middle of the day. So I actually strap this between the lid, between the frame and the bag. Now that's the chair, right? If I had a tripod, highly probable I'd put a tripod there, or the tripod up the side, and my spotting scope would go right there. In fact, I'm going to grab my spotting scope real quick just to show you what I'm talking about. So I'm normally going to have this spotting scope in a marsupial gear case, right? So throw this in here. So what I would do is I'm just going to pop this right there, run the handle, or run those straps through the handle and buckle that up as a safety. Same principle, and I like having my spotting scope there. It carries better by far than up that side. It keeps the weight distributed a little bit better. So get that strapped up. Okay, the one thing I didn't mention, I don't have a bladder with me. This is the hard side water bottle filtration or purification system, and I've got a hose up here to where I can drink out of that. I just got this from the guys down at Hardside at the Colorado Tack, but it's a 48 ounce, whatever it is, Nalgene bottle, and I can just drink right out of the hose, and I've got that on the side of my pack. So everything's loaded up accordingly. This is probably going to be 42 pounds of crap, 43 pounds, somewhere in there. Down here, I've got the pants that I'm wearing in, and I'm either going to carry these walking sticks in or, you know, my ice axe, one or the other. That's the same way I would load any other pack. Lightest stuff at the bottom, heaviest stuff in the middle up against your back. Fill voids with everything else. Keep everything you need to get to quickly at the top of the pack or the lid. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Hopefully that helps you out.